Welcome to another episode of our show here, where we're going to talk to Ben Lee. Today, we're talking about the issue of Macau diversification. I'm Michael Penn. I'm the executive editor of AGB Nippon, the Japanese branch of Asia Gaming Brief. And so let's go ahead and just jump right into it. First of all, Ben, there's always talk about Macau diversification. It's a theme that goes on and on and on. But do you see it actually happening in a serious way?
Well, up until recently, I'm off the skeptical side, in that I've lived here and listened to that political rhetoric for the past 15 years, and have not seen any sign of any real commitment by the government or its people towards towards any form of diversification. It has been a series of long-term plans initiated by Beijing, imposed on Macau. However, I suppose the commitment and the drive just doesn't exist here on the ground. To get real diversification, we need to basically open up Macau, open up its economy, and more particularly, open up its labor force to external talent in order for us to be able to germinate, incubate, and grow the non-gaming component that would have been so important to a real diversification of the industry. However, all we have seen on the ground here is basically pandering to local demand, that the jobs be protected for the locals and for basically local companies, local initiatives to be, I suppose, cocooned from any real competition. But having said that, we have recently developed a new hypothesis that could actually see a game changer in Macau. They want Macau, as part of this Greater Bay Initiative, to become a world center for finance. That's Hong Kong's claim to fame. That's Hong Kong's expertise, core expertise. And then they want Macau to become, as well as part of that, to become a renminbi clearing platform for the Lusophone countries, the Portuguese-speaking countries. And we all have been sitting here on the ground, shaking our head and saying, well, that's never going to happen. How is that going to happen, right? There's been no incubation of the necessary talent. And more importantly, as I mentioned before, there's no drive to do so. And it's nice to be able to say that, yeah, we're gonna become a renminbi clearing platform for Portugal, for Brazil, for Zambia, but really the amount of business we do with those countries are woefully small. And then suddenly the proverbial light bulb went off. We started seeing more strident calls and mentions of the digital renminbi that is currently being trialed in 5 cities in China. And Xi Jinping himself visited Shenzhen, which is going to be the driver of the digital renminbi. And we ask ourselves, the default casino currency in Macau up until now has been the Hong Kong dollar. And historically, there were very good reasons for that. Hong Kong used to be our biggest market. And for the honkies to come across, play in Patacas, and then go back and having to convert and it just does not make sense for them, right? And apart from that, all our major transactions, from buying apartments to buying cars, and any major transaction are all conducted in Hong Kong dollars. And having the Hong Kong dollar as our real major currency, de facto currency in Macau, obviates the requirement for the Macau government to actually track the money supply and to try and size, to gauge the size of this informal economy. As I said, that was a historical reason. But with the market having moved to mainland China, and with China now accounting for something like close to 90% of our gaming revenue, that means the players have to come from China, they convert the renminbi into Hong Kong dollar, and then they come to Macau to play in the Hong Kong dollar, where some of the transactions, the common transactions around town are in Patacas, but when you go to a hotel room, you're paying Hong Kong dollars, you get Hong Kong dollars, but you wine and dine in Patacas or renminbi, Hong Kong dollar. You know, it's just a three-headed hydra. What is there to stop Macau replacing its default major currency with the renminbi? And then all of a sudden, all this talk about Macau becoming a renminbi clearing platform and this introduction and trial of the digital renminbi all of a sudden made a lot more sense. If Macau was to replace the default casino currency with renminbi, all of a sudden you have a huge gravity in terms of volume. Now, in 2013, the casino currency was about, the volume in terms of gross gaming revenue was about 45 billion US dollars worth. Informally, including what happened on the table, we estimated that the overall gaming revenue was closer to 120 billion US dollars for that year. In 2019, the formal gross gaming revenue dropped to about 37 B. If you add up informally, probably around 50, 60 B, which is still a lot of money. Now, imagine if that was to be in renminbi. All of a sudden, Macau to become an international clearing platform for renminbi started to make a lot of sense. Number one. Number two, right now, China, it's like a whack-a-mole game, right? They have to monitor these hundreds of thousands of transactions, the leakage from China to Hong Kong, China to Macau through the underground channels, right? The conversion of renminbi into Hong Kong dollar primarily, and Hong Kong dollar, because it's paid to US dollars, into foreign currencies, freely convertible. If the casino currency in Macau was to be in renminbi, all of a sudden, it's no longer an issue. Macau becomes a single currency jurisdiction with China. The need to monitor and control the leakage out of its economy is uplifted or will be uplifted from the bottom level to the corporate level. The casinos will be making their profits in renminbi, and the casinos will then have to apply to central authorities to convert the renminbi into a foreign currency and to be able to repatriate that. It's an elegant solution to all the issues that we currently have in Macau: leakage, underground channeling, and more importantly, from the junkets point of view, the junkets currently have three main functions: identify and market, recruit players for the casinos. The casinos still will not be able to do that, right? It will still remain a main function of the junkets. B, credit is a huge volume multiplier. If a player comes to play with cash, let's say he comes with 1 million renminbi, he loses that money. And players, remember, are always hopeful. They always underestimate the potential size of their losses, and they lose too quickly. They want to continue playing. The casinos have difficulty in granting credit because they can't enforce the credit, right? But the junket operator, with a greater ability to collect, will be able to maintain that function. Now, the third function of the junket operators, i.e. the movement of funds from China to Hong Kong or from Hong Kong to Macau, is a function that derived from having to meet the two main functions. It's something they had to do in order to fulfill their two primary functions. I don't believe that they're going to lose too much sleep over the third over losing that third function. In fact, having the ability to move money freely from mainland China to Macau will be a big relief for them.